We heard his voice. We didn't get to see his face yet.
Aloha and welcome to Wisdom Dialogues with Hope Johnson, coming to you from my bedroom on the beautiful Big Island of Hawaii. My bedroom is in fairyland, by the way. Thank you for joining. I appreciate you. Hooray. Yay. So Lori and I were just having a little bit of a conversation about patterns that come up and getting more sensitive to what's a pattern? What is it? So, I felt inspired to share an example with you because something just came up, just today when I was at the mall. There was a place I really felt like I wanted to go in. I saw something and I was like, ooh, I'd really like to go in there. So my body started moving in there, and then my son was like, no, like he really didn't want to go in there. In fact, he sat on the floor and by the sign if he just really didn't want to go in there. And so then this thought came around, I just need to go to Hilo by myself so I can go where I want to go. And see, it seems like an innocent thing, like something to protect my wishes, what I desire and stuff like that. But it's a burden. It's a thought that comes that comes like, okay, now there's something you have to do about something to get what you want. It's like thinking you know what you want. Okay, I'm gonna have to go later. And it's like totally takes you out of the present moment. It's a hook. You see? This and just to start to be more sensitive to them. What I noticed before I recognized anything as patterns like I do now is noticing that it felt a little bit off. The energy just felt a little bit Do you know what I mean? It's like not in a state of trust. It's not in a state of joy. It's not in acceptance. Yeah. You can just tell that something's a little bit off. But it seems like you need that thought to protect this, to protect what you think this is. See? And it's all so unconscious. Molly's raising her hand. I'm going to have her join. Aloha, Molly. You are unmuted. Now I see your mic. Yay, aloha.
Yay. Aloha.
Did you like what we're talking about and wanted to join in?
Yes.
Yay.
Actually, it's exactly what I'm like going through, hardcore.
Okay.
It's like I've been really going through it, really, really mad at myself or really disappointed with myself. And there's, I'm getting ready to move back to Hawaii, and everything is just like jumbled, moving around, not like things aren't super clear, credit card debt, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, what have you done? Where are you going? And then when I have days off to myself, I feel like I don't get much accomplished. Like I basically feel like a loser a lot lately. And then there's this, it keeps coming up, and it makes a lot of sense because I'm in California and I'm around my family and stuff, and it's such a thick pattern, which is like, well, you haven't been clear about what you want. What do you want? Try it. Go. Do it. Like, do the right thing. And when I haven't talked to you for a while, I think about you or what you would say, and then when it's been a while, I'll just go, well, that's just over spiritualization, like that. I can't really make it in the dual world because like I just can't do it on the dual world. I guess I get it in the in the bigger picture, but when it comes to the day to day, like I'm completely failing.
Well, of yourself, you can't do anything. So there you are.
I know, but I'm so stuck right now that doesn't, you know what I mean? I can't even let that in.
I hear you.
Oh, I'm in the fucking doer again.
Well, see, the thing is about being in the doer. It doesn't matter because you're not really in it. It's just got really the clouds got really thick, but you don't have to have your head in those clouds. You can kind of like take a step back, get a little space from being where you're experiencing from where you're experiencing this experience from. You know, get a little comfort from there.
Bob's here.
Oh, he is?
Yeah.
Let him in. He can just come in here.
Yeah.
Bob came for Wisdom Dialogues Online.
Except he is actually here.
Yeah, he's actually here. So you know, it's like there's not you. Aloha, come on in. There's not you getting into all of these patterns like that. They're just passing. Right now, they're still just passing, even though they've added up, they've gotten stronger or whatever. They've been adding up. Still, from where you are experiencing it from is untouched. It's not affected by that.
I think, you know, I feel that remains constant, and I feel like I'm concerned the patterns aren't just passing, that they're perpetuating.
Oh, cool. Awesome.
And then I feel like I get that from the infinite level. I get the observer, but I feel like I'm supposed to do something in this life with this life, like this precious life, and it feels like I'm wasting it.
Very interesting. So yeah, that's just that's all that is just more chit chat.
Yeah.
And you know, you get interested in it. You think it means something. It doesn't mean anything.
Yeah.
It's not actually saying anything about you. It's just getting your attention. It's getting your reaction.
Yeah.
Remember, in this dream, it's like as consciousness, you're relating with these things. You're relating with these things that are arising. Now, you identifying with them is one way of relating with them. Another way of relating with them is recognizing that this is a pattern, a habit. Every single one, every single thought.
Thai dialogue.
Thai dialogues.
Tie-dye what?
Thai dialogues. Braun is here, and Bob Shine is here.
And this is Anthony. He's one of our new work traders. He wanted to come in.
Aloha, Anthony. Welcome. Thanks for coming to my room. This is the only place to do dialogue today because of the windy and the electricity out and stuff.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
It's out?
Yeah, I'm using my phone as a hotspot.
Oh.
All right, back to Wisdom Dialogues. So see how it just keeps on, the ego will keep on throwing something out. You have to do something with life. There you are as the doer again. It's just throwing that out. And you know, it's interesting to you. When that one's thrown out, it's like, oh, that one must be meaningful. You know, it's like whenever it's thrown out, it's meaningful by you. So it's like in this instant, and any instant where that idea comes across the screen of your consciousness, you can just let it pass. You don't have to be all interested in it. But if you find yourself all interested in it, that's okay. Because playing that out, when that plays out in your awareness, eventually you won't be able to entertain that kind of thought. It just comes and it's entertaining to you when it comes up. It kind of makes you laugh, but it's not something that gets your attention as if it means something about you.
About to go chill on the beach.
Yeah, well, I guess the main thing that the wall that I'm up against is that there's something shouting, do something now, and I want to rest. And then it's like, you lazy idiot, you know, how many days have you been resting? But I'm up against this wall so it doesn't like. I think maybe.
Okay.
I think what's maybe happening is that I'm really wanting to let myself off the hook, or I am in the process of like letting myself off the hook.
Uh-huh.
But I think it's part of the aspect of the doer that like there's something that doesn't, or is grabbing my attention enough that doesn't let me fully like relax. Like I woke up, I really just wanted to sleep in today, and I was just, oh yay, like I just need to relax. And then the voices came, and then they came in like harder and harder by the afternoon, like, yeah, like serious guilty consciousness. And so therefore, like, I never really, like, not never, but it's hard for me to really take a break because of from anything, because that voice keeps saying like, do something, like, you know. It's just like, I think as I start to unhook myself, it starts like even blaring even louder, if that makes sense.
Yeah, that does make sense. Definitely. Yeah, it does. It's like the ego's last hurrah trying to get your attention. But you know, if you're willing, you'll see through it. That's for sure. If you're willing, you will see through it. There's no doubt about it. It's just that, you know, a lot of the times people say they're willing, but they don't want to drop the doer. They can't drop that voice that says, you know, that says you're not doing enough. Hey, you're not doing enough. And here's the thing. The voice that says you're not doing enough is just a pattern of information passing. And also the voice that says I just want to rest is a pattern of information. See how the two patterns of information, two opposite patterns of information, are making conflict in your mind, but only because of identification. Like that, like as if either one of those voices is meaningful. You know?
Yeah, I've been giving them a lot of meaning, the voices.
Yeah, exactly. They're not meaningful. These things are just passing. If you take them as meaningful and your reaction like this, it keeps it going and going and going. It gets stronger and stronger. And no matter how far you've dug a hole like that, your head can pop all the way up in a second. You know, it's just kind of like, it's just recognizing it for what it is.
Yeah.
You know, these patterns of information are crossing your awareness. And, you know, you've become interested in them as if they're meaningful, and they're not. They're just not meaningful.
And then what happens is my voice says, well, if you meditate, if this, you know, you'll get through this. And then I don't, like, I don't move my body or meditate or do the things I'm supposed to do. Instead of just in that moment, I'm not meditating in that moment because I'm thinking about how lame I am for not meditating.
Exactly.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, it's the same kind of thing. It's the same kind of thing. You think that meditation is meaningful, right? And so then you take it to mean that if you don't do meditation, you must be fucked up.
Yeah.
You must be tormented. You must be punished, whatever.
Yeah, it's almost like I'm having a good time, and then or like just enjoying my life, and then this voice says, you are fucked up because you didn't do everything right today or something. And then
you know, you can enjoy that voice too. You can totally enjoy that voice. That's just part of entertainment.
Okay.
The thing is that it's not meaningful. You're making it meaningful only in the instant that it's arising. You're only alive now. So only in the instance that it's arising, you're either making it meaningful or you're letting it be the passing phase that it is. Part of the show.
Do you feel like that becomes easier or harder depending on your surroundings? Like, you know what I mean?
No, surroundings don't matter. The surroundings don't matter. The surroundings can be like a trial. You know, you can look at it as an adventure. You know, you're changing surroundings. You're going into an area where it's kind of like Babylon compared to here, right? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah. So, that can be exciting if it's allowed to be exciting. And it's exciting when you're not identified as the doer. You realize that you don't have to perform in any particular way out there in Babylon. All that's happening is you're watching the unfolding. You're there for the experience, just like you are anywhere. Whatever the experience brings, with gratitude. Lots of gratitude helps all the time. Just like
Yeah.
thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. Even if there's there's an emotion coming out. For me, it's to the point where when something comes up, I'm just like so grateful that it came up, because it's from what I've seen is it always leads to a blessing that makes it so worth it, whatever anything was. And then it gets to the point where there's no suffering in that reaction anyways.
Mm-hmm.
It's just fine to have that. It's just like kind of like going on a roller coaster, maybe going down the roller coaster. It kind of comes kind of like that, and not like something that's bad that you want to get rid of.
I dreamt about a roller coaster 2 nights ago.
How fun!
And it is like that. Sometimes it's that feeling where you're like 2 nights ago or 3 nights ago, I was like going through it so hard, like so crazy, mean thoughts, and just like and the greater awareness was there, so compassionate, and it was like, all right, then that's just where we're at. And it wasn't even like an effort. It just settled in. And then huge waves of blessings came. So then I was like, yeah, that's how it works. And then I went back down again. So it's like that roller coaster that I think is the time that I get like a little bit hopeless because it's that feeling like, oh my God, again kind of thing.
That's funny. So that's identification with that voice. See, it's like, oh my God, like that's a real voice.
That's so cool to feel that right now.
Yeah, all that is to get a reaction out of you. And it does.
Oh
my God, not this again. It's just to get a reaction, just kind of like what I shared about the mall, like, oh, I really need to get to Hilo myself. It's just a reaction. There's a reaction inside of the body, and it's just like recognizing that reaction and experiencing it like that. That's what heals what's causing it.
Mm-hmm.
Because it gets revealed. So untrue. It's so unnecessary, that kind of burden.
Yeah, it's a burden. Thank you.
Thank you. I love you, Molly.
I love you.
Yay.
Yeah.
So I have Lori. Lori, are you still on with me?
I am. Do you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. So, as far as sensitivity to patterns, it's something that is kind of developed, with willingness to experience them in a different way.
Right. There's definitely willingness here.
Yes, and that's how we see miracles take place, where in the moment there's some kind of hook, and there's just a willingness to kind of like stand still and be with whatever experience it is. Every mood is energetic fluctuations in the body. Everything we say, everything we speak is patterned from energetic fluctuations in the body. So, and all the thoughts that cross the mind, those are also matched with an energetic fluctuation in the body. Frequency. It's all frequency, what it breaks down to, which is, basically sound, like sound waves. And it's like and it's like the energy bodies and in the relating with these different sound waves is always changing. Everything's always changing. It's always shifting. So letting the changeful be the changeful and let it just pass us by without having to pursue anything. And then we could just be with the experience as it is. Whatever thought is crossing, we can experience the effect of it. We can just experience the effect of it.
Without reacting, you mean?
Well, even if that effect is a reaction. If the effect is a reaction.
Without outward reaction, I mean.
Sure.
But,
Yeah, that's not under your control either.
Right.
So being there with whatever even if the experience is an outward reaction, whatever it happens to be. But there's going to be less possibility of outward reaction as there's more awareness of our own tendencies. So these mind tendencies that come up, as there's awareness and curiosity about them, there's a willingness to just be with them and not need to run to the mind for explanations or, trying to figure it out or saying I'm stuck. And, because even I'm stuck is the same thing. Whatever it is, it's the same. It's just, it just denies who you are. There's no way it can be going wrong. There's no way it can be going wrong because there's only one, in the dream, there's only one creator consciousness. Consciousness is doing everything. There's a tendency to identify with as if this body is something under our own control, as if we are the ones directing its movements and deciding what it does and what it eats and all that kind of stuff. All that is the narrative about something that's already going on. It's already going forward.
It's
constantly playing out.
Yeah. The thought process is the narrative. The thoughts are the narrative. Yeah.
It's
of what's
just
happening.
A narrative. Yeah, it's making a narrative of what's already playing out.
Right.
Pretending as if there's someone in particular doing those things.
Doing it. Right.
Yeah. Yes. And there's no one doing these things like that. It's conscious is one movement, all inseparable.
I've been saying that for a long time, and a lot of times, I'm trying to figure the percentage of when I realize that I'm not doing it, but there's a falling into, off and on of I'm doing it, or as soon as there's a thought of it should be different, there's my trigger right there's the pattern. I know that that's not true. Right. Immediately.
Yeah.
But there are certain things that just get fallen into, especially with, of course, the spouse. It seems like
the spouse.
The spouse is the quickest.
That is the best. Yeah, that is going to be one of the closest mirrors.
Yes.
So a lot of gratitude comes in really big there.
And that's where I'm at lately. So much gratitude for everything that I've been going through in the past, however many years, and he's still here taking it.
Aww.
Yeah. He's just been my rock, just going through it, no matter what it is.
Yeah, gotta love those partners that support like that. It's really
so
amazing.
Grateful, so grateful.
That's a big one. Yeah. All right, so
there was something else I wanted to ask.
I love you. Thank you.
I love you too.
Aloha.
Aloha.
So if anyone would like to talk with me about anything, just raise your hand. You guys, all good? All good? Okay.
no hands or anything.
What a
there.
man, what a man, what a mighty good man. Yeah, Molly put that up.
Oh, her husband.
Oh, that was Lori. She was talking about her husband.
Mm.
Ah, yeah. So those closest relationships, those are the closest mirrors. That's what's wonderful because there's a lot of ego going on there, and it could even be a roommate or anything like that. Whoever we're closest with, we're spending a lot of time with them. A lot of the times there will be triggers coming up, and it seems like we need to get away from that person. Like maybe it's time for us to get away from them. And that is never true. Don't buy into that. And that's anyone. Because mind energy attracts. If we're aware that mind energy attracts, and we can only attract whatever it is that's necessary to awaken our minds. We can only attract whoever, whatever, wherever is necessary at that moment. So it's not that we need something different or we need someone to be different. It's that in this moment, it's time to recognize the truth, acknowledge the truth, protect the truth is even one way to say it, because it's not going into lies. It's not believing a lie that says, I need to get away from this person, or I need a better so-and-so, roommate, spouse, brother, whatever it is, or I need this person to change. It's more like recognizing that this is a pattern, and I could just feel how this feels right now to take this kind of thought pattern as true, because it limits us. This thought pattern makes us look as if we're an individual in a world, in a universe, as it's a small thing, and that's not the way it is. It's totally the other way around. It's more like the whole universe is within our own perception. The body consciousness, that awareness of the body, is in our perception. We are not in the body. Okay? We are not in the body. We're not susceptible. We're only witnessing this experience. We're not touched by it. Okay? It can be fully experienced by us, and that's what's being asked, is a full experience. Non-resistance to the experience, whatever it is, even if the experience is resistance. See? Because there's always the ability to take one more step back. There's one more step back. A little more space. Just a little more space from the experience. Being in that space where the experience is happening from. Sort of like if you're in a movie theater and you're sitting in the theater watching on the screen. Say the experience is a screen. Where are you experiencing it from? You're totally okay. You're totally supported. You're totally protected. You're totally provided for. All abundance is yours. You're totally okay right there where you're sitting. But when you get identified with what's playing on the screen, maybe it's a thought about, I'm not doing enough. You're lazy. Something like that. And get identified with that on the screen. It's like there's forgetting that you're actually watching it in the movie theater. Like your own position. Where it's forgetting what your actual position is. When it's taken as, oh, that's about me. It's not, it can't be about you. A thought that says you're lazy can't be about you. You know why? Because it's impossible for you to be lazy. That's just impossible. You can't be lazy. You're only watching. You don't have any power over what your body does or does not do. Sometimes the energy is producing more activity and sometimes it's not. The narrative that goes along with it about, oh, that was good. That was wrong. That was bad. It's kind of like, oh, you should feel good about yourself because you did it right some days. And other days it's the opposite. Now it's time to get beat up by your ego kind of thing. There's no need to take any of those things that are happening on the screen as being personal, as being about yourself. They're not about yourself. They never did anything to you. They're not. They are not a hindrance without your participation. They're comical. They're drama. It's funny. It's like comedy. Oh, I shouldn't have done that. It's like funny. You can laugh at that. You don't have to take that as meaningful. Because in taking it as meaningful, all that's doing is identifying once again as a doer, as someone who's capable of doing something. And that's the burden. That puts a pressure on your mind, a pressure on the heart. It creates tension in the body. If it's possible for you to be lazy. It's a funny thought that comes up and says you're lazy. Or what about if someone else is lazy? You think someone else is lazy and believe a thought that says someone else is lazy. Automatically pressure goes on to not be that way, to try to not be that way. That judgment is believed. No one is doing anything. Concepts are playing out through consciousness. Concepts are playing themselves out. And when there's willingness to see how that's working, see for yourself how that's working, it'll be shown to you. It'll be known. It's just obvious. It becomes obvious. Aloha. Lori,
Hello.
you're
Okay.
on.
So all of this teaching
Okay.
is to alleviate guilt.
Oh, okay.
That's supposed to be a question.
Oh.
While I was walking with her, I was, feeling that. Seeing the guilt in her. She's got so much guilt where her son is
Isn't it
concerned.
beautiful?
She thinks it's her.
Ah,
That why he's, because she's a bad mom. And it's like, what? Oh. And so she started relating it to my kids, and when my kids were growing up, when they did something and I said, well, back then it was different because I was different then. I did feel guilty, and I see that now, whatever they do, it has no reflection on me. It's not because of me. What the
Right.
hell? It's not even because of them. So it's going to be because of me. So all that guilt that is painful in the body.
Yes.
So this understanding, like, completely banishes guilt.
Yes, exactly. It ends it. It ends guilt. It also ends worry. You don't have to worry about anyone.
And blame, yeah.
Yeah, it all that stuff. Yeah, but
Anxiety, yeah.
yeah, all that. It's like there's this underlying guilt, and a lot of times I look at it like when someone, hey Anthony, would you mind closing that door? Like when someone comes to me with some kind of maybe an attitude or like anger or whatever, someone comes to me, like the way I see it is almost as like they're going, as if they're going, here's my guilt. And like I could either say, yeah, you are fucked up. Look at you, or I could take that. I could just take that from them. They don't need that. See? someone comes angry and stuff, that's how potent the energy is. That's how potent that the energy is of just being able to, just being willing to be there with the experience. Say someone comes up to you in anger, it's really almost like they're going, "Hey, look, I'm guilty," and looking for you to corroborate their idea,
Right.
you know.
Right.
Or you can just take that from them and no, that doesn't fly.
And it
You
goes
know?
right through. Yeah.
Yeah.
Doesn't-
I told one friend, she told me that she was lazy. She goes, "I'm lazy." And I go, "No, you're not." And she goes, "Yes, I really am." And I'm like, "Actually, that's impossible. I don't believe it." And then she just looked at me like, "Are you sure? Like you should wait till I tell you how lazy I am."
Yeah, right. Give you all the reasons. Yeah.
But
Mhm.
but it's like whenever I can, like, I don't even need to hear the story about how guilty unless you really need to tell me that story. But it doesn't matter because there's no one doing it.
Right. Well, I automatically know when somebody's angry like that. They're caught up in their thoughts. It has nothing to do with me. I just happen to be the trigger of their thoughts. And it literally, no matter who's in front of me blasting shit at me, I know it's not me. I know it's not. That is very clear that it is
And so
not.
what happens? And so then what happens?
Well, they either stop speaking with me or with Nicole. Actually, she keeps saying to me, actually, what she said to me today is, "I don't know how you stick with me." She goes, "If I was you, I wouldn't walk with me anymore."
Oh, what a sweetie.
I know.
Aw.
I said, "Give me a break." I said, "None of it is personal. None of it."
Yeah.
Just
And
goes,
any acceptance that we give to ourselves.
yeah,
That's how it works. Because it
right.
immediately registers in your own energy field.
Mm,
It's really helpful to just, being committed to tell the truth.
right.
Don't let yourself be convinced that lies are the way to go.
Yeah.
Like you shouldn't have done that. Telling someone you shouldn't have done that. That's what you're saying to yourself when you say you shouldn't have done that. Or
Mm.
you shouldn't do it that way.
It's not
Or
possible. Just shouldn't have done something.
right.
Impossible.
Or someone says, "I don't feel good," and you point out some kind of habit of theirs that you think created that. That's another one. That's that's kind of like stabbing your own self in the heart.
Oh,
Yeah. No illusions cause illusions. It's just illusions don't have any effect on illusions. One thing doesn't affect another.
right.
It might look like that. It might be made to look like that. But the only thing that affects illusions is the mind. The mind affects illusions. As the mind changes, illusions change.
Yes, it's beautiful.
And the mind changes when there's willingness to relate with thoughts as consciousness, not as an individual,
Right.
as consciousness itself.
Right.
So there's willingness to encounter anything because we're given the strength to encounter everything that arises in our experience. That is a given. Everyone has what they need. Everything that arises. Just letting it be what it is, letting it be the energetic dance that it is. And leave everything up to consciousness. Consciousness totally takes care of her own. And what do I mean by that? Consciousness is always giving everything. Consciousness is giving everything, but only to the extent as we will accept.
You're right. Well,
And when we
and
don't,
they're ready for.
yeah, and well, if we want to be in charge, if we want to be responsible for our own lives, then that's okay. That's what we're shown.
Yeah.
It'll be made to look difficult. We will be made to look guilty
Yep.
because that's how we set
And
that up.
blame others. Yeah. 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 Yeah.
Blaming. But you know, where there's just a trusting and allowing consciousness to do what consciousness does, then there's no one to interfere. And things can just go the way they need to. And here's another thing. Anything that might come up that would seem like a challenge or a lesson or anything like that, all that is leading to even greater and greater experiences that are joyful, happy, playful, more laughter. You know, it's like all those are leading to even more. It just gets better and better.
Yes, that's what I've been noticing. Like my husband and I,
Mhm.
the past weekends, we've had not a, we've done different things with other people. We see the others in their relationships as little snide, and we are, going off on our own and having stupid. We're laughing over, cracking each other up so much. It's so ridiculous.
Mhm.
We're just having a good time together.
Hooray.
Like with it's seamless. Just, I don't know. It's beautiful. It's
Congratulations.
really, thank you. The past 2 weekends have been just fun, and there's really not much being, nothing spectacular, but just even in the car, stupid stuff. Anyway, yeah,
That's perfect.
it is. It's really
What a
nice.
lovely way to relate.
Yes,
And
yes.
it can all be like that all the way around the board, whether it happens to be with your closest partner or anything,
With
anywhere.
anybody. Yeah, yes. Yes, even with my mother and and even with Nicole as I'm walking, you know,
Nice.
even when she's saying, "You don't understand, Lori."
Aw.
Yeah. Okay, I'm all done.
All right. Aloha.
Thank you.
Thank you too. Yep, it all boils down to guilt and a fear of death. Okay. Thoughts come up and want to get our attention. Or let's have another way of saying it. We're used to using those thoughts to get a particular feeling. Okay? And that energy play keeps it going. Using the thought to get a feeling. Like, oh no, what if the rent doesn't get paid? That crosses the mind and then it gets this particular feeling. If you notice that gets a particular feeling, that gets more interesting. You get more curious about that than the idea, how's the rent going to get paid? Recognizing that the effect of the thought, how it affects the energy field. When there's willingness to relax in that, it relaxes. How do we know we fear death? Well, everything that is fearful is something that wants to protect the body. It wants to protect the body. Everything, from scarcity, disease, everything is like trying to protect the body. And the body doesn't need all this protection. It doesn't need any protection. Because it's apparently born and apparently dies exactly when it needs to, all on its own through consciousness. Okay, not saying that it's it's totally predetermined, but there's a plan in effect. Okay? And all things change. All things evolve. Nothing's a problem, but anything seems to be a problem. It's based on this underlying fear of death. It's an unconscious fear. An upset feeling. It's an unconscious fear that this body needs something that it might not get. That there's someone living in the body that is responsible for providing for the body. It's just not true. The body apparently lives and then dies, only apparently, according to what consciousness wants. Not what individuals want, or not what we do. Not taking a bunch of pills isn't going to help us live longer, whatever. Whatever it happens to be. Even if it looks like that. It's not even really true that a poison can kill a person, but it looks like that. It doesn't mean you go out and take poison just to prove it. Recognizing that it only looks like that, the body and the poison were both like tools of the mind to make a certain effect. One doesn't have an effect on the other. And if there's willingness to know that, see that, it'll be shown to you. Everything that prevents the seeing is just belief. In the moment, if there's a belief that says, I'm not doing enough, oh my God, I'm getting older and I haven't done enough, that's defiling yourself. If you're believing in it, that's what would be called sin. To believe in something that talks about you as if you're not yourself, as if you're something, as if you're some individual in the world. Okay? That makes things difficult. That keeps that fear of death hidden. Yay. Here we are with a dinosaur. Hi, Bob.
So isn't that, it's that separate selfhood, apart from life, apart from God, that I feel it's like the issue for me. Sometimes I feel disconnected from life.
Okay.
I feel like I'm too caught in myself. And so then life passes by, my interactions with people, and I feel disconnected from them. I feel like I'm not responding, I'm not loving, I'm not giving. I look back, and not only was I not giving enough, but sometimes I feel like I was offensive, or I violated, or whatever.
Okay.
That somehow, you know, I'm just not completely there because I'm in this little head trip of myself.
So basically you're evaluating yourself. Those are thoughts that evaluate yourself.
Yeah, so
Okay.
there, see, I'm still stuck in myself.
Well, you know, just anything in that moment where thoughts arise to say how you've been doing, looking back on your actions and stuff like that. That is an evaluation by the ego. Hey, can we not do that while talking? Thanks. That is an evaluation by the ego. And when the ego evaluates you, it's not a just evaluation. It's not a true evaluation. That's something that gets your attention. It makes you feel as if you needed to really do something now.
Yeah, well, that's just it. Then there's that me that thinks I got to.
Yeah.
I'm not doing enough. I got to be better. I got to be more attentive, more connected.
Yeah. Watch those evaluations, you guys, because those are like tricky ones. Although that must be true, a true evaluation. You cannot be evaluated. It all comes down to right now. How you behave with other people, how you interact with other people. It all comes down to right now, whether or not another person happens to be in front of you. When you're having that thought about those other people, and then that one is evaluating you, that is the moment where it's just like recognizing what that is. See, if you take it as if it's real, that's not recognizing what it is. And then just take it on for yourself. That moment is where the peace is. You don't have to wait for other people to be in front of you. In fact, here's the thing. When other people are in your space, you can feel them more. Do you notice that? You get more fluctuations in your energy field. So you might say that whenever you're not in front of people and thoughts are crossing your consciousness, that would be a prime opportunity to practice. Yeah, because then when you're in front of people and the energy is more intense because there's a lot of energy moving, your practice just comes into play. See? So when you're not in front of them and you're having thoughts about people, that's a prime time to practice. And by practice, all I mean is recognizing what those thoughts are. Being willing to see that their meaninglessness, their ultimate meaninglessness, and relaxing in that compassion that has you completely. Because that's what generates the changes. That's a transformation in the energy field. That's going to change how you relate.
Compassion.
Yeah, and because in the moment where when you're in front of someone, basically it's a culmination of everything that has gone before. The way you're moved, it's all a culmination of all the thoughts that have gone before. So when you're not in front of people, say you're doing your work, I know you do outside kind of work, probably don't need to communicate a lot while you're doing that, and any kind of thoughts that are crossing your mind about people or anything, but you can be particularly aware of your relationships and stuff like that, and just allow a relaxation in there. Allow a little space. Recognize that these are just thoughts passing. Allow you to be yourself to be shown that these are meaningless, and that you can be at one with your spirit right now. You can experience yourself as that right now. The only thing that prevents the experience is believing these thoughts. And in the case of self-evaluation, like what you're talking about, it's no wonder you would feel disconnected if you believed that evaluation. How could you not? Yeah. So you're going to go right back to feeling so connected just by allowing that thought of evaluating how you were to just cross. Just let it pass. Let it feel it, though. Feel how it feels. Experience the experience of that evaluation. When you experience the experience of it, it's so beautiful. Some people even cry just in the realization that they've been doing that to themselves all this time. And a deep forgiveness takes place. Okay? You can't be evaluated. No evaluating. No evaluating necessary. But if evaluating is happening, that's the experience. Okay, that's the experience. That's all. Just recognize that that stuff isn't true.
Well, the only thing to evaluate is that I'm spirit. Spirit is operating in my life and in my relationships.
Yes.
That's what connects, and that's what heals and loves and forgives. And stick with that one power, that one presence.
Yes. There you go. Sticking with the power of spirit is what he said, in case anyone didn't hear that. Sticking with the power of spirit as the one presence. Okay? There's only awareness. There's nothing else. There's nothing added to awareness. There's nothing else. So whatever happens on the surface only apparently happens, and it doesn't matter to anyone. It doesn't matter. It only seems to. Whatever happens on the surface It's only for the play. It's only for how things are playing out. Okay? What really matters, what only thing that matters is the truth. Because that's what sets us free. Free of the mind dream. The dream of separation where there's death and stuff like that. There's no need. There's no need for that. We made it up. Okay? I love you. Thank you. I don't see any more hands right now. Unless anyone has any questions, I will start wrapping up. Mahalo, Lori. So we are sponsored by Miracle Botanicals. Wisdom Dialogues is sponsored by Miracle Botanicals. Yay. This is called Bouquet. This is a blend by my beautiful husband, Tony. He took some florals that are his favorites: Roman chamomile, ylang ylang, neroli, magnolia, lavender, clary sage, wild chamomile, helichrysum italicum, and rose otto. This is a floral that men love. I guess at least one of them. He made it. You want to try it?
Can I try it?
Bob's gonna try.
Men love it. I gotta try it. Hopefully the women love it.
Hopefully the women love it.
Oh yeah, that smells good.
Okay, put some on.
Put some on.
Yeah, so that one's called Bouquet. It's one of the new ones we added. Also added Fairy Woods. People are loving that one. We're stoked on that one. It's been around for over a year. Smoke Detox Blend, which me and Molly came up with together. That was super fun. I'm getting really good feedback on that, Molly. You know, some stuff on Facebook and on the product, you know, how useful it is for so many different things. So that's really awesome. We're stoked about that. MiracleBotanicals.com. If you'd like to join Wisdom Dialogues live, go to Facebook.com/groups/Wisdom Dialogues. And if you're local to the Puna, Hawaii area on the Big Island, or you're visiting, you can contact me and I'll let you know where it is on Mondays at 3. I love you. Mahalo. See you next week. Aloha. And a hui ho.